Join me today where we make this cute little Christmas tree spinner ornament. They work up really quick and they're really cute. It's a great addition for your tree. So what you'll need to make this tree is a 4.5 millimeter hook, some darning needles. You only need one, but I always keep them in my little package. A pair of scissors, a little bell. You can find these at Hobby Lobby. Some of them have a little or a bigger hoop that you can put your yarn through. These just have a little flat one. It works. You need some brown yarn. You need some white yarn. You need some yellow yarn. You need some red yarn. And I'm using this green yarn that's a print. It's called Dappled Wheat. It works up really pretty. So let's begin. So we're going to start off with our brown yarn. I don't want this ball to roll off on me. And you want to leave a long tail when you create your slip knot, because we're going to use this tail to attach it to the bell. So give yourself a generous amount, just so you have enough to tie a good knot, or 2 or 3, and create a slip knot. Pull through, get your hook, and you can use a smaller hook to create a smaller tree, or you can use a bigger hook to create a bigger tree. I have found that the 4.5 millimeter hook creates a nice size ornament, and that's why I'm using a 4.5. You can use a 4, you can use a 3.5, whatever works for you. So to begin, we're going to chain 16. All right, so we got our chain of 16. We're going to work in the back hump of the second hump from the hook. So you have your first one here. We're going to work in the second, and we're going to do 15 single crochets down the chain. So you have your turning chain of 1 that accounts for the 16th, and then 15 down. And if you don't want to use the back hump, you don't have to. I've been trying to do it more with my projects because I like the way it looks on both sides. My yarn ball wants to go on an adventure. And you don't need a lot of brown yarn. We're just going to do these single crochets, and then we are going to change to green. Make sure you get the whole loop and not just part of it. And if you want to pause the video or speed it up while I'm doing this, I just like to do a lot of my crocheting on camera rather than off camera, so that you guys can really see what I'm doing and you don't feel rushed. I'm always like, slow down when I'm watching YouTube videos and people go super fast, and I mean, believe me, I have my moments where I crochet fast. But. So now we have 15 single crochets, and we're going to pull up on this loop here, and we're going to cut our brown yarn, and we're done with our brown yarn. Now we're going to take our green and we're going to change over. So what you want to do is, you see these two loops here? What you want to do is get your hook underneath both of those loops, and you want to leave a generous tail that you can weave in as we go, and just put it on your hook and pull through, and then chain 2, and then you're going to take your brown yarn and pull it down, because we've secured that stitch with this green yarn now. You don't have to worry about it coming undone. So we've chained 2, and we're going to turn our work. And we're going to weave in these ends as we go. I'll probably do it for a little while and then I'll cut them off. But in this first stitch here, where we have our chain, this chain doesn't count as anything. So we're going to use this first stitch, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. So yarn over, pull through, and just make sure those yarn tails are underneath the stitches. See? And you want to just keep them snug. So we've done 3 double crochets. We're going to do that 4 more times. So we have 5 sections of 3 double crochets. So here's our first. We're going to do 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets. Make sure you get into the stitch and over those yarn tails. Okay. Next stitch, 3 double crochets. Fourth stitch, 3 double crochets. And in the last stitch, or 5th stitch I should say, there's this fuzzy stuff on my yarn. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. So you should have 15 double crochets when you're all done. Okay, I think we've woven in our ends good. Pull them tight. We're going to go ahead and snip those off. Okay. Now we have 10 stitches left, and the next 5 stitches we're going to place 3 half double crochets. So yarn over, go into the stitch, and then pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over. Sorry, I keep bumping my camera. So that's 1 stitch. In the next 4 stitches, you're going to put 3 half double crochets. 2. Ugh. Let me get this up and out of the way here. My hand wants to come up and bump it. All right, where were we? I think that was 3. And if you're not sure, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have 2 left. Yep. All right. So now we have 5 stitches left, and we're going to do 3 single crochets in each of these 5 stitches. Oh, helps if I do 3, right? Like I told you. I'm just doing 2 because we need the 15 stitches. And this last stitch, you can see it on the top. So make sure you're going into the right stitch and not your turning chain. All right, so now it should look like this little spiral, but it's not done yet. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn your work. Now into each of these stitches, we're going to do an increase. So into all of the single crochet stitches, we're going to do single crochet increases. In the half double crochet, we're going to do half double crochet increases. And then in the double crochet, we're going to do double crochet increases. So each section, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet, should have a total of 30 stitches. So let's do this together. Make sure you get into this very first one. I'm going to do 2 single crochets. And if it helps to count in increments of 2 until you get to 30 to know where it ends, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you don't skip any stitches. So that's 20 so far. This yarn keeps getting fuzzies on it. I don't know what that's about. It's pretty, but I don't like fuzzies. And this is 29 and 30. So I've got my single crochet increases completed. Now I'm going to do my half double crochet increases. Okay. Maybe I'll stop bumping it if I get it high enough. All right, so 2 half double crochets into each of the next 15 stitches. Just make sure you're getting into the stitch and not below it. Still bumping that camera. Let's see. I lost count here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, maybe I'll mark that with a stitch marker just so I know. Just so I know. This is 29 and 30. All right, so now we are going to do 15 double crochet increases in each stitch. Just make sure you're doing double crochet. Your muscle memory gets used to doing a particular stitch, and then you want to keep repeating that same stitch. You know how that goes? And then you're like, great, how many stitches did I do that were the wrong stitch? And you end up frogging stuff, so. Last stitch, make sure you get the whole stitch. All right, that's 30. Chain 1 and cut a generous tail so you can weave it in a little later. So it should, might have to fix it. Sometimes these like to go in different directions. This is how it should look. So now we're going to put a little snow on the tree. A little snow on the edges. Make it pretty. I actually want to spin this around the other way because it should be flowing the opposite direction. There we go. And if you put it down like this, and pull up. All right. So we're going to start in this very first stitch here at the top of our tree. We're going to connect with some white yarn. Sometimes this stitch can be a pain in the butt, so be patient with yourself. That's what I always say, be patient. Pull it through, oops, and chain 1, and we're going to weave this tail in as we go. So you don't want to sew it in later if you can weave it in. All right, so we chained 1. We're going to go into the next stitch and do a slip stitch. So slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, go into the next stitch, do a slip stitch, and chain 1. And we're going to do that all the way down the tree. Now if you want more little caps, you can chain more than 1. You could do chain 2. I just do chain 1. And just pull this yarn tight as you go so that you have it nice and hidden. But you're just going to slip stitch and chain 1 all the way around the tree. And this is what it should be looking like. You don't want to pull your tail too tight, but you want it snug. That's probably far enough. We don't need to weave in the whole tail. And then you don't have to worry about it once you cut it off there. You'll find you'll go a lot faster not worrying about a tail. All right, so I'm going to finish this off camera, And then when I return, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I have a few stitches left. Just want to show you how to finish this off. And that last stitch, and chain one. And cut your yarn. Pull it through and pull it tight. And this is what it should look like. Of course, if you use a different color green, or you use pink or whatever, it's going to look different. But this is the size that it's going to be. So let's go ahead and weave in these tails. Let's do the green first. And I just feed it through the tops of the stitches here. Doesn't have to be extravagantly long weaving in, and then I go over the last stitch that I came up through and just feed it back down and out. Cut off the yarn. Now we're going to weave in this white tail. And this is the top, this is the bottom. We're going to weave through each of these stitches as best as we can. I go through several. Sometimes it can be a little tight to get your needle through. Let's do a couple more. And at the bottom of the stitch, not the top. Just do one more. And then we'll go back through to the end. And cut off our yarn. All right. So now we're going to set this aside for now before we attach the bell, and we need a star. So I've made some stars. These size stars are good for this size tree, for this 4.5 millimeter hook. I don't make the stars with a 4.5 though. I make them with a 3.5, and I'll show you here how to make these stars, but I use a 3.75, I'm sorry. And then there's, if you make a smaller tree, you would make a smaller star. You need 2 for a smaller tree. So I'll show you how to make both. So let's do a big star first. Okay, to make the stars, we're going to grab our 3.75 millimeter hook. I'll first show you how to make the small star. That's this size. So we're going to create a magic ring. Chain 1 to secure it. Then we're going to single crochet. Go ahead and mark that first stitch with a stitch marker. And we're going to chain 2. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Pull that down. Now to do our next point, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, pull it down. Continue that until you have 5 points. So this is going to be number 2. 1, 2. We've started our third by starting with a single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, maybe, there we go, single crochet, so we have 3 points, chain 2, slip stitch, single crochet, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be our last one, chain 2, slip stitch, and then secure it with a single crochet. Now what I do is I pull the ring a little tight, and then I go ahead and slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made into the ring. Leave a generous yarn tail for sewing. Pull it through, pull it tight. Now you want to finish cinching your circle. You pull it tight, and you have a little star. So that's a little star. So now let's do the next star. Starts with a magic ring again with a 3.75 millimeter hook. Chain 1 to secure it. Now single crochet, followed by a double crochet, followed by a chain 2, and then another double crochet. So this is going to be your little point, this chain 2. Again, single crochet. I'm going to do this a total of 5 times. Double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. That's 2. Single crochet, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. That's 3. Single crochet, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. That's 4. Last one, single crochet, double crochet, chain 2, as my yarn is creeping up on me like a scary monster, double crochet, and then single crochet to lock everything in. Go ahead and I usually mark the first single crochet, but I did not. Go ahead and slip stitch to this first single crochet. Maybe. There we go. Leave a generous tail for sewing. Pull it through, pull it tight, and now cinch up your ring without breaking your yarn. And there you have a bigger star. So you'll need 2 of these stars for your tree. One for the front and one for the back. So now what you want to do is assemble your tree. And unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, I assembled mine off camera. But you're going to thread a foot-long string through the top of your tree so that it's the second stitch over, and then knot it and then pull the knot down around where it's going to be in between your 2 stars. Then you can choose to sew your stars together onto your tree, or you can hot glue them or use fabric glue, whatever works best for you. So you'll just, if you sew it, you'll sew one star on, and then you'll flip it over, put your other star behind it, and then sew each of the corners and the center. You want to just make sure it's on there nice and snug so that it's not going anywhere, but that it looks uniform, so it looks the same from the back and the front. Then you want to take your brown yarn, and I do 3 knots. I feed it through and then do about, I'd say you could do 3 inches, but I do 2 inches from the base of the tree and then snip it off. You can dab some glue onto this just in case you're worried it might come undone. And then that's it. That is the tree. This is what it looks like all squished together. And then it expands and spins and rings. And there you have it, a little Christmas tree ornament. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you've already liked and subscribed, I thank you so much for your support. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much.